Welcome back to another video. It's me, Kieran from Cam's.com. Welcome back to the first video in about 8 months because, of course, running a Chelsea-related YouTube channel, shit is always close around the corner. So we'll be talking about mainly Chelsea's hunt for a new manager. With the weird departure of Mauricio Pochettino, I'm going to be bringing you stories about the 3 or 4 managers that are in line to take the Chelsea job and what I think about them. But without further ado, let's get in the first story. Where else to start than the main man, Fabrizio Romano, who has narrowed down the Chelsea prospects. I'm going to go to him, who has said Thomas Frank, Kieran McKenna, Enzo Maresca have all been mentioned internally at Chelsea. It's still an open race. No talks on Company on the buying list, Tuchel, Flick or Conte. Internal discussions on. So yeah, those are the main names that are going to be bringing you up today. Of course, I'll go into more depth about their managerial career individually, but he carries on by saying, Kieran McKenna, also Brighton want and wait for him. Enzo Maresca, Thomas Frank all remain on the list, but is open to other candidates as internal talks continue. Yes, as we know, Brighton lost their manager Roberto De Zerbi, and we know the relationship between Chelsea and Brighton, so I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea went sniffing around for De Zerbi as well. But, of course, Kieran McKenna, Ipswich manager as of now, got them promoted to the Premier League. Brighton also won him. This is just backed up by Matt Law, who says the same 3 names are, you have narrowed the same 3 names, but there's also talks today about an unnamed candidate making the club shortlist. Now we know what all the 3 managers have in common though. Relatively young managers, which carries on from the Bowley and Eghbali rhetoric of signing young players, young managers, having a new and improved system at Chelsea. Whether you like that or not, backed up by Sky, who say a high-profile mystery name is also under consideration for the Chelsea job. I have no idea who that be, but again, going at the last 3, it's probably going to be a young, new manager. Cesc Fabregas would be nice. Of course, got Como promoted into the Serie A, Dennis Wise's own team. Former Chelsea player. But going more into Kieran McKenna, Kieran Gill has said, told Kieran McKenna is not put off by Chelsea's reputation for chewing up coaches, desire to challenge himself as high as possible level, Ipswich dangling new deal in hope he will stay with Brighton still and chase. McKenna one of the new few CFC candidates. Now, of course, let's just go into Kieran McKenna. Coaching career is, well, pretty quick. Tottenham reserves and then got his job at Ipswich. Of course, we think about managers in the Championship less. Of course, can have a manager at a top level. It'd be interesting to see if how Ipswich got with the Premier League with him for a year, and then we could see where it was for next year. But of course, we don't have that luxury. Taking a team from League One to the Premier League, of course, very, very hard. Managers like Eddie Howe come to spring to mind when you think about that achievement. Major honours, pretty much just, you know, second place in the Championship with a decent Ipswich side. No thanks to Amari Hutchinson, of course, on loan from Chelsea. But when we think about the 2 other names, I'm going to start with Enzo Maresca. Similar reputation, of course. Won the Championship with Leicester. Looked like it was going to be a generational bottle when they were like 20 points clear. They went on a really bad run at the end of the season, but of course got the job done. Previous to that, worked at the development in Man City, which of course is never a bad thing, working with or around Pep. And Kieran McKenna worked at development for Tottenham, so of course that is part of their resume. But one of the biggest names, I think, Thomas Frank, Brentford manager, has that Premier League experience, which of course Chelsea will probably be looking for. I know there's lots of people saying, why are we looking for a Championship manager? See what happened with Potter. You know, these really exciting young managers playing great football, but you know, with less expectations, and when they come to Chelsea it all goes down the shitter. But of course Thomas Frank has done very well with Brentford, keeping them up for 3 years, moving on to their 4th season. Last year was a bit of a downturn where it looked like they could get relegated. Of course, you got to understand they've had loads of injuries, and the first half of the season without Tony to keep them up has been good, but the teams that went down are horrendous, so that's not much of an achievement. But with Thomas Frank, I have watched a lot of Brentford games there in the Premier League. That is the football and style of football we can see that he was going to be bringing to Chelsea, which, for lack of a better word, is fucking boring. I've always compared them to like a Burnley sit-back counter-attacking side, which of course is sometimes quite exciting, but wouldn't you prefer to win with a majority possession of the ball, scoring more goals like we did on the Danish league with Brøndby? I don't know if he won any titles, but it is a roster of people that haven't won major competitions. Of course, when we look at Pochettino, yeah, he hasn't won a lot, but he did win Ligue 1 with PSG. He did get to the final of the Champions League with Tottenham, which deserves a medal in itself. But yeah, the main stories today is that those three are the main candidates. Kieran McKenna, of course, leading the race, but there is a mystery fourth manager. Not very exciting for a Chelsea fan to look forward to, but yet again, these managers are unproven at the big stage. It could be a very exciting period for Chelsea, a bit of an unknown. Of course, Kieran McKenna would be amazing. League 1 title, Championship, and then Premier League. I'm not getting that far, but that could happen. Could Tuchel come back? Well, we yet to know. So, like, subscribe, stay up to date for more YouTube videos about the situation. So, without further ado, I will see you soon.